Hello students and welcome back to Shri Gyan Manjari Vidyapeeth. We are learning the subject of social science for standard 10. Let's take a quick recap of what we have learned in the previous lecture. Students, we started with chapter number 8, that is natural resources for standard 10. The subject is social science. Name of the chapter is natural resources. This is the second lecture. Let us take a quick recap of what we have learned so far. First, we learned that human needs are quite a lot, and whatever satisfy our need. Yes, human needs can be satisfied partially or completely through resources. There are thousands of elements in the nature on earth, and we cannot call them all resources. Then what is resource? That was the first thing that we should learn. Now, what is a resource? The thing on which the man is dependent, thing on which we are dependent. Human needs can be fulfilled or satisfied by them, and the elements can satisfy our needs, but then there should be some qualities with the element also. Then there should be qualities with the human beings also. What is that quality? Men should have the physical and intellectual capacity to utilize them properly, and then only they can be called resources. That we learn. Next word that we learnt is utility. Utility means the usability of that thing. Here we take utility as usability of that particular thing. For example, soil is present everywhere, all around the earth. Soil is present. Soil is a very, very rich resource. But then we should have the knowledge that if particular seeds are sown in a line, after few days plants will start coming out, and at a particular time this plant will give this fruit. It can be a fruit, it can be a stem that we are using, or it can be the root that we are using, or we are using the fruit that grows on top of it. Yes, for example, that plant can give us wheat. Another plant can give us potatoes, that is roots. Another plant can give us leaves, that is palak that we have. Yes, so in that way we should have that virtue in us. Yes, we should have that intelligence in us. We should have the capacity. It is not only the capacity. Same way, that thing should have the capacity, it should have the usability. So usability and capabilities are the two virtues necessary in a natural resource. Resources, they are useful in many ways. All activities right from agriculture to industry, ultimately they depend. We get everything from natural resources. Natural resources is our base. Whether it's a crop, whether it is iron ore that we get, yes, at the end we go through some process in order to get finished product that we can use, right? So right from agriculture to industries, everything we depend on the natural resources. Resources can be mainly used. Now we define we have defined resources. Now how they can be used? They can be used as in three ways. First thing is as food, second thing as source of raw material, and the third thing is energy resource. If we have learnt about food, various food requirements of human beings, they are satisfied by various resources. We have learned that as we use the crop or we use the fruit, yes, some fruits we eat directly, some fruits we take out, for example, the pure and safe sweet drink water, that is say for example the coconut. Right? So different food items we use it in a different way. Then we use minerals also. For example, salt. Salt is a mineral. We use that as an ingredient. So living, non-living, and in various food requirements we use various resources. For example, fruit grow naturally. Yes, various crops are taken with the help of agriculture. Then we have milching animals, domestic animals, milching animals, cows and buffaloes, from where we get milk, and then we make lots of milk products from it. Same way, meat is obtained from domesticated animals and aquatic animals also. Honey, for example, is prepared by the honeybee, which we use, right? We use the honey, right? So in this way, there are various food requirements of men, and they are satisfied in quite a lot of different ways. Then we learnt about resource as a source of raw material. Yes, from agriculture, from nature, wherever we get, in whichever way, we use that as raw material. With our intelligence, capability, wisdom, tact, and with our intelligence, we have made machines. We make the raw material go through some process, and then we have finished product. So for finished product, that raw material is necessary, which we get from nature. As a source of raw material, various goods are obtained from forest, agro products, wool, hide, meat available from animals, minerals, minerals, etc. We get it from nature, which we put through some process and get finished product. So we are using basically the natural resources available to us as raw material. Then as energy resource, we use coal, petroleum, natural gas, etc. that the nature has made, that the Mother Earth has made after millions of years, but we use today as a fuel or energy resource, as fuel in industry as well as domestic fuel. Besides, energy can also be, we are, with the help of science and technology, we have been able to trap the heat energy of the sun, convert it into electric energy, right? So in that way, solar insolation, wind, sea waves, tides, ebbs, we have tried to use maximum the natural resources, whether they are renewable, whether they are non-renewable, whether they are exhaustible, they are non-exhaustible. We have made use of both the natural resources available to us, so that it serves as a source for energy resource. That much we had learnt. Then resources, they can be classified according to their ownership, according to their re-availability, and according to the basis of distribution center, that we learn. Now on the basis of ownership, we learn that there can be again a classification of resources based on ownership, re-availability, and distribution area. Now if we go to ownership, that can be individual resource. For example, it may belong to an individual or a group of people, one company, lots of company together. They will be owning, either the government will be owning. National resources, for example, the sea or ocean which is touching our land, that is a national resource. The hills, mountains, all of they are natural resources. The minerals that are found under the ground, basically they belong to the country, basically they belong to the nation, and that is why it belongs to the government. Yes, so all these are national resources. Global resources which belong to each and everyone. So that means the air, atmosphere, the rain, wind, ocean, they are all available to the whole. Nobody can claim that to be theirs. Then on the basis of the distribution, that means ownership, we have details: individual resource owned by an individual, example land, building, that we have seen. National resources, it can be owned by a country or a region, for example army, international trade. Global resources, all physical, non-physical, yes, common ownership of all the nations. Then we just had a look at this, so we are going to start from here. Yes, classification of resources on the basis of distribution area. They can be universal resource, generally available resource, rare resource, and solitary resource. Now let us go ahead with today's lecture. Now this chart has been given to you in the material, so that you can have a look at it. Yes, according to distribution area, we have universal resource, generally available resource, rare resources, and solitary resources. Now what is universal resource? For example, useful gases in the atmosphere. Most of the gas that we have in the nature is the nitrogen, right? So that is available in maximum. There are lots of other useful gases that are available in the atmosphere. Yes, that is a universal resource. That means that oxygen, for example, oxygen, nitrogen, they are available equally everywhere. The percentage may vary, but then they are available and nobody can claim that this belongs to us. Yes? Another person cannot come into this country and breathe our oxygen. They will have to pay for the oxygen that they breathe. No, that is no rule anywhere all around any nation you go. Right? If you go to visit US, you don't pay for the oxygen that you will be breathing for those 10 days, 15 days, 30 days that you are going to live over there, because it's a universal. It's available everywhere without any precondition, without any differences. So useful gases that are available in the atmosphere, it's a universal resource. It is available everywhere, free for everyone to use. For example, oxygen, nitrogen. Then generally available resources which are not for all, but they are generally and very easily found. For example, land. Where if a country is there, then land will be there. They are not living on water, they are not living in the air, they are living on a land. If it's an island, it's a small one, but land is there, right? So it is easily found everywhere. So land, soil, if there is land, there will be soil. So soil easily, so it is generally available everywhere. Somewhere you will find rocks, but then there will also be soil, right? So land, soil, water, percentage can vary. Yes, somewhere there is scarcity of water, somewhere there is abundance of water, somewhere there will be scarcity of land, scarcity of good soil, but then it will be there. So they are generally available. Land, soil, water, pasture land, they are generally and very easily available. Rare resources. What is rare? We know the meaning of rare. Rare means not available in more quantity. Those available at limited places only. What is the meaning of rare resources? They are not found everywhere. For example, our core is made up of iron. So each and every country will have varying percentages of iron ore, but they will be having it because whole of our earth is made out of it, right? So the lava comes out from the core and settles on the surface of the earth, that is the crust. So iron is available throughout. But in that same way, gold, diamonds are some of the rarely available minerals. They are not found everywhere. They are found at select places only. Yes, and that too in the less quantity. So that is rare. Now what are rare? Those available at limited place. What are they? Minerals like coal. Each and every country does not have coal. Only few countries have, and maybe coal is available, then the quality and quantity is not good enough. Petroleum, not available with all the countries. There are many countries where petroleum is just not available. You have to buy it from outside. So why? Because it is rare. It is found at few places only. Copper, gold, uranium, they are not found everywhere. They are found at select places. That means they are available at limited places. That is why they are called rare. Rare के ऊपर भी एक डिग्री है, that is solitary resource, available at only 1 or 2 places only. Minerals available only at 1 or 2 places in the world, they are very rare. For example, cryolite, which is available only in Greenland and it is available in a very small quantity. So we have to rarely use it, or we have to make very mindful use of that, because it is available at one place only in the whole of the world, and we just cannot have a reckless use of it. Otherwise, if it is used up, exhausted, we won't have it anymore, right? So according to distribution area, we have universal resource, generally available resource, rare resources, and solitary resource. The details are given, that means usually what it means, defines, and the examples are also given. It is available in your material. Now we come to availability. Resources का जो classification था, उसमें एक classification था according to re-availability. Resources that are available again and again. Some resources are not available again and again. Some resources can be generated again and again. So the first thing is renewable resource. Now the thing to mind over here, that the same title has lots of variation. They have lots of synonyms. All of them mean the same, but then you have 4 names for that. For example, renewable resource. Renewable means you can make new, right? For example, the sun energy that we have, the heat energy, the light energy that we have, that heat energy we convert into electric energy, right? Electricity, right? And we generate electricity from the energy received from the solar energy that received from the sun. Now, during the daytime, we have lots of it. We don't have during the night. So, at night, there is no production of electricity because sunlight is just not available. But it will be available again next day. So, every 12 hours, we start with generation of electricity. So, it is renewed on a daily basis, and every day we know the sun is going to come up and we are going to have. So, that is renewable energy. Same way, that is an example of inexhaustible, which cannot exhaust. You have water, you drink it, it is exhausted. You do not have any water now because there was one glass filled with water and you drank it. That is exhausted. Yes? So, energy sources, they are also exhaustible and non-exhaustible. It means the same, renewable, non-renewable. Renewable, it can be renewed again and again. Non-renewable, it cannot be renewed once it is exhausted. Same way, exhaustible, non-exhaustible. Exhaustible, for example, coal, etc. We know the stock is there. But once we drain that stock, once we use that whole stock, we will have no more coal. And we cannot produce coal because that is the work of the nature, and nature takes quite a long time, in suppose millions of years. It can be made by nature, but then again it will take millions of years. For us, that is an exhaustible resource. But the sun energy solar energy which we discussed, that is inexhaustible, right? So, means the same, words will be different. Renewable, non-renewable, exhaustible, non-exhaustible. Some resources reproduce themselves as per their usage during a specific time. In other words, these are inexhaustible resources. Yes, for example, water falling from a height, if it's a waterfall, if there is no rain or if the source has dried up, then for time being it can stop. But once when we receive rain, once the river is again full of water, that waterfall is again going to generate electricity. So, for timing it's not available, but it can be renewed, right? So, some resources reproduced as per their usage. Electricity is made through solar energy, electricity is made through wind energy, electricity is produced through tidal waves. We use it, it gets exhausted. Again, when next tide comes, again next time wind comes, it's going to produce. Again, when the sun rays fall on the solar panel, it will again start generating electricity. So, in this way, after a specific time, in other words, they are inexhaustible. Examples given: solar insolation, wind, birds, animals. Now, birds and animals is given as renewable resource because they can reproduce. For example, chicken, mutton, or everything is available to us because they keep on growing in numbers. People keep on eating them, and again they grow in numbers. Again, so the supply is continuous because birds and animals can reproduce. Because we are using the birds and animals as food resource. What happens? Whatever food is on the table, we eat whole of that. Right now the table is empty, but we have that resource ready because agriculture, it keeps on producing every year, every season. So we have that resource continuous. It is because the soil allows the plants to grow and the plants give us again the crop. Same way, birds, hen, they keep on reproducing, they give us chicken. Same way, mutton is available because animals keep on reproducing. Yes, it's not that once we eat it, it gets exhausted. So, they are also considered in renewable resource. Birds, animals, bioresources, all the bioresources, whether that is water, whether that is soil. Soil also we know, it keeps on regenerating. It is fresh soil. It takes time. But then fresh soil can again be made so that we can get good agriculture. Yes, the nutrients keep on replenishing. Bioresources, all the green plants, trees, whatever it is, even the forest, we cut down the forest for our use, again the forest grows on its own. So bioresources also, they are renewable resources, fall under this category. These are called renewable resource. The same thing that's called inexhaustible resource. Now we come to non-renewable resource. What is non-renewable resource? Once we use it and the source is depleted completely, over, it can no more be generated, right? Then it is completely exhausted, we cannot renew it, and that is why we call it non-renewable energy or exhaustible resources. Non-renewable resources are those which cannot be reused once they are used, or they cannot be reproduced or cannot be reformed in near future. For example, coal. Coal is available. We use coal to burn, to give us heat, to give us to boil water, produce steam, and it can be used, that steam can be used to produce electricity. We can keep on producing electricity, we can keep on getting heat until we have coal. Once we have dug up all the coal that is available to us and used it, then we cannot, they cannot be reproduced by us. Or if it can be reproduced, you will have to give it million years, right? So we do not have that much time. Or it cannot be reformed in near future. For example, mineral. Yes, lots of iron is available to us, lots of copper is available to us, lots of gold is available to us in the ground. We keep on digging and we keep on taking out the ore and we keep on using it. One day that stock is going to get over. Once it gets over, there is no way we are going to have another in the near future, because whatever we have, we used it. It cannot be regenerated, it cannot be reproduced by us. So same way, coal, natural gas, they are of limited quantity available to us, right? And we use them. Petroleum, etc. These are called non-renewable resource, or they are called exhaustible resource. Please mind the name, because in exam you might be asked to give differences between exhaustible resource and non-exhaustible resource. So you should not be confused. Write somewhere in your material, non-renewable is equal to exhaustible and renewable means inexhaustible. Now, next topic is planning and conservation of resource. Now this is about both of them, that is renewable resource and non-renewable resource, but we will be focusing more on non-renewable resource. Because for example, we take the minerals or the energy resource, for example coal, petroleum, that is energy resource. We take different minerals, for example iron, nickel, aluminum, gold, etc. Right? We take these things for example. Now what happens is, all over India we know these are the gold mines, these are the coal mines, these are the places where we get petroleum. Here there are chances of getting petroleum. We have marked each and everything. Yes, with the help of new latest science and technology, we are able to find new places where there might be chance of getting these minerals. But at one point in time, it is going to be exhausted, because we found it, we are going to drain it, we are going to mine it, and one day it's going to go over. That means till it is there, we can use it. Once it gets over, we won't be having any of that, because it is simply over. Then we will have to ask from the rest of the countries of the world. Now, do you think it's over with us? Do you think it will last? It will last forever with them? No, they are also using it, and one day for them also it's going to be over. So whatever stock we have to plan and conserve, so that the best use can be made today, plus we have something spare for the future. We have kept some stock for the future, so that the future generation can also enjoy all the facilities that we have today. Yes, they can keep up with development if the stock is available to him. If we use it all today, what are they going to get? So there are two things over here. One is planning, another is conservation. Planning for today and tomorrow. Conserving for tomorrow. Use it wisely today so that it is well conserved tomorrow. Yes? Now, how to do it? During last 100 years, usage of resources have increased very much due to extraordinary development in science and technology, due to population rise. Yes, explosion, you can say it's not a rise, it's just exploding like anything. And the third very important thing is because of the Industrial Revolution that started from 1850. Now, let's take a quick look at it. Primitive people or primitive men, they had no use of any resource because simply they did not have any knowledge. But as they advanced to Stone Age, they started making use of rocks, etc. Small things, and it was available easily in the nature. They didn't have to worry about it, right? Then we came to the Iron Age. First, it was the first mineral that they found, they started using was the copper. So we have Copper Age, where they usually made weapons and utensils. In Copper Age, they found out that mineral is the ore of copper, and they found out how to refine copper and get metal and remove the unwanted material out of that soil or out of that ore. Refined it, got metal, that is copper. Then they used copper for making weapons or making utensils for kitchen purpose, for making food, the utensils. Yes. Then when they had more of it, then they made statues and idols and lots of other things of daily use, right? Then came Iron Age. Now, iron was considered among one of the strongest and toughest metal. Basically, it was used in making weapons and for construction purpose. But the maximum use of iron started with the Industrial Revolution in 1850, where iron was all of a sudden in great demand, because from machines to whatever you are using today, most of that was made up of iron. So the demand of iron suddenly went up, and with that lots of other minerals, metals, they also were in constant rise in demand, and so we started making use. Now from 1850 to today, we have today modern age, or we call it atomic age. You see, here we are 2021, and this started in 1850. 1850, it took time for the demand to rise. Yes, so you can say almost 1852 to 20-30 years. Okay, that's not a problem. So 1850 to 2021, we have that span of 100 years, 120, 30 years, where all of a sudden, the demand of all the raw materials started going up. Basically, the metals. Yes, and we started finding out all the places where metals were available, where ores were available, and we started digging, started excavating, yes, and extracting them, and we started actually depleting the rich mineral source that was available to us. So during the last 100 years, usage of resources have increased very much. It has some basic reason. The first basic reason is extraordinary development in the field of science and technology, which inventions kept on happening, and new things were invented, more usability of those things was there, and that is why we needed more production of that thing, and that is why the resources were used in producing it. So extraordinary development in science and technology. Second, due to population explosion, 1900 and later we saw a huge rise in the population of the world, especially after 1950. From 1950 to 1980 still all right, but after 1980 we saw a shoot up of population explosion. Yes, and that population means more and more requirement of things, produced good, finished products, and for that we need raw material. That means we kept on using it in such a way, we never thought about the future, that if we are going to use it in the way that we are using it now, the speed with which we are using it now, the quantity that we are using it now, we will not have any of that in the near future. We will have completely exhausted that, right? So severe implications will have to be experienced in future if a serious thought is not given to this matter. We are not giving it a serious thought, that the way we are using it, the speed with which we are using, the quantity with which we are using it, in the near future it will get exhausted. So we are not thinking at all. Our thought is not serious, and that is going to pose a serious threat. If the resources are exploited at the current rate, the quantity and with the speed at which we are using it, where they are exploited haphazardly, there is lots of wastage, there is lots of use of it, unnecessary quantity is produced. But we are depleting, we are continuously using that small quantity of resources available to us. And irrationally means without thinking we are using it. Then it will be a dream to maintain the development and the current lifestyle. If we think that the development we are having now, if that same speed or pace is to continue, that means the raw material should be available continuously to us. Is it available? No, we keep on using it, it will go down and down. Yes, it will keep on decreasing. The quantity of raw material available to us will keep on decreasing, especially of the non-renewable type, of the exhaustible type. Those resources will keep on decreasing. In future, can we keep up with the same speed of development? No, because resources have become less. It includes things like, now we should have some planning. So what does that planning require? First is rational use. We should think twice before using the resources, that whatever we are doing, is it correct? Is it the correct use? Are we really going to make use of whatever you are making? The speed with which we are making, is it going to be used by people, or are they going to throw it away? It's conservation and reusage. Three things should be there in your answer. First thing, what we should think. Yes, we should think, because we are not thinking. So we should first think of rational use, yes, reasonable usage of that. Then its conservation and its reusage. Yes, for example, iron, copper, aluminum, all these things. We keep on digging the ground, take the ore, refine it, make a finished product. But lots of products are already available to us, lots of them have been used and then thrown. We can collect that, we can recycle that, and we can reuse that. If we recycle and reuse, then what happens? There is no need for us to keep on digging. So there are lots of things which can be recycled. So for example, plastic can be recycled. For example, most of the minerals like copper, iron, they can be recycled, right? So in that way, we can recycle and reuse them so that we don't have the need to mine it more. We should have a rational use. We should not produce anything in a haphazard manner. We should not keep on extracting the minerals in a haphazard way. We should make a rational use of it. We should keep it over there. We should conserve it so that it's available in the future. When there is a danger of existence on the life of a tree or human life, the arrangement made for it is called conservation. This is very important. It is already underlined in your material. This is the definition for conservation. What is conservation? First thing is, we are all dealing with typical terminology over here, so you should basically know the terminology. We can make use of that terminology if we know the meaning of that word, right? So what is conservation? What is conservation? When there is a danger of existence on the life of a tree or a human being, the arrangement made for it is called its conservation. This is the best time. This is the best time that we know the meaning of conservation. Yes, we know how much you love. We all know how much, me and you together, yes, all of us, including your parents, siblings, all of us, how we love Maggie, right? When there was a lockdown, many of us had forgotten the taste of Maggie, right? Why? Because we didn't have it. Whatever we had in our home, we exhausted it without thinking that this lockdown can continue for 4 months, 5 months. So when the shops closed all of a sudden, we started stockpiling Maggie. Until that stock was available, we ate, we had. But then, in the shops also, everything was sold out. They didn't have a single packet of Maggie. Because of complete lockdown in the country, the manufacturers were not able to produce any Maggie and supply it to different parts of the country. So production was stopped, transportation was stopped, availability became zero. अभी जिसके पास है, सोच समझ के खा रहा है, उसके पास अभी भी कई सारे पैकेट पड़े हैं. एक मैगी बनाते हैं, सारे घर के परिवार के लोग एक एक दो दो चम्मच खाते हैं, and they have that taste of it, they enjoy that 2 spoon, and still lots is available for making after 2 or 3 days, right? So those people, those who knew how to make arrangement when the danger of existence is there, right? So right now we have lots and lots of examples where we come to know about resource planning. We didn't plan the resources, and that is why we are suffering. We didn't have that many oxygen plants, we didn't have that many medicines, yes, we didn't have that many pharmaceutical plants, we didn't have that outlook. What will happen when transportation comes to a standstill? We had no idea about it. When it came, when there was a danger of existence, yes, the arrangement made for this is called conservation. Then we started, now next time the food available to us will be next week. So whatever we have to continue for 1 week. सुबह 2 चपाती, शाम को 2 चपाती. कई सारे घर ऐसे हैं जिनको एक चपाती भी नहीं मिला हुआ है. Because they didn't have money, they were not able to plan it accordingly. Yes, they had to remain hungry until someone comes and gives them. So when there is danger of existence on life of a tree or human life, then the arrangement made for it is called conservation. So it is the duty of all of us to conserve resources for the future generation. Just think about the future generation. If we use all the iron ore available to us today, that means when our generation is living, what will happen after 50 years? After 50 years, the way we are using it now, after 50 years, it will not be available in our country. For example, the coal. it is an accepted fact by the government also that the coal that we have and the way we are using coal, we will exhaust the coal in the next 40 to 50 years. There will be no coal available in India. Now, after 50 years, the generation that come up, we will have to take them to the museum and show them a piece of coal. Beta, ye hua karta tha, right? So, what happens if we don't plant today? If we have to plant it today, we have to restrict our use today so that it is available to future generation also, and they can also make a good use of it. Yes, and they can also have development because they have some raw material or resource available to them. So it is the duty of all of us to conserve for the future generation. Resource should be conserved and should be used rationally. Wise thinking. What is rational? With some reasoning in mind, with some proper thinking it should be used. It should not be used in a haphazard manner. Now, steps to conserve resources and resource planning. A very good point. First of all, gather information about the availability of utilized, unutilized and probable resources of any region or country as a unit. Now, for that we take the example of India. In that we take the example of coal. Now, coal mines are there. Even our city, our area has a coal mine and also lignite, right? Whatever. So, first thing is to make a survey which type of coal available in which quantity, known quantity, because we know that a particular area, this much area has coal, and today with the help of science and technology we can know the volume of that coal available. Right? So first thing is we have this much over here, we have this much over here, we have this much over here. Make a total of this. We have a total of this much coal. Right now that is under the ground, we have this much coal. This is our first step. Yes, so this is step number 1. Step number 2 is the current usage. The current usage. Current usage means the quantity we need on a day-to-day basis, and for that example, for that purpose we take the year, complete year in mind. That India's consumption, not what we are exporting, what we are using in India, the total coal that we are using in 1 year, the Indians use, whatever purpose, either you use it in the house for heating purpose or for cooking purpose or in the industry or for producing electricity. Whichever way you are using coal, what is the total usage of India for coal? Suppose out of this much part is used on a yearly basis. If this much part is the total quantity used in 1 year. Now all of you are quite good at mathematics. Yes, you know the total volume and the volume used in 1 year. You can calculate for the rest of the coal that we have, entire reserve of the coal that we have. So looking at this, we can say still the coal can be used for 50 years if we are using it with the current consumption rate. Right? So what happens after 50 years? Because this rectangle is the total that we have, somewhere available in Bihar, somewhere in Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Maharashtra, so on. But this is the total that India has. Out of that, India's total consumption for 1 year is this much. So for the next 50 years we can use this coal. That means it will last, coal to last will be 50 years. After that, we have dug up all the coal available in a country. Big gaps are there wherever we have mined, big holes are there where we have mined the coal, taken out the coal. Now not a single scratch, not a single piece is available to us. After 50 years, we will have no coal because this coal will last for 50 years. Yes, so comes step number 3. Conserve. How to conserve? Alternate method. What is the alternate method? Instead of coal, stop using coal. How did that happen? Now, we can't stop using coal. For example, when the Britishers were there, when they brought the train and the trains developed, the engines used coal and wood. Yes? So, all of a sudden, coal demand went up, price of the coal went up because maximum use was done by the railways. In industry, maximum coal was used. We started finding an alternative because now the pace with which we are using coal, that much is not available. Yes, it cannot be dug up all in a day and we can use it. It takes time. Plus it has to be transported. There are lots and lots of obstacles. So we found another way and science and technology developed. We had diesel locomotive. When we started using diesel locomotive, we did not have any use of coal because now those engines were taken out of service and diesel locomotives we use. Yes, so instead of the coal that was used and it could have lasted for 30 years only, because we stopped using coal in railway and industry, because industry we started giving electricity, we stopped using coal. So the consumption went down. Instead of 30, now we have coal which will last for 50 years. Now the diesel went up, demand of diesel went up because cars, trucks, railway, everybody is using diesel. So we found an alternative, electricity, right? So now instead of diesel used in railway engines, we are using electricity. So now diesel volume went down. So in this way, be sure these are the 3-4 steps. First is to take a survey to know exactly what is our use, what is the total quantity that we are going to have, and the number of years it will last. So the current use, we can know it. The third is ways and methods of conserving it, ways and methods of alternative use of alternative resource, so that we can stop one resource, we can reuse another resource which is very easily available to us. So I hope you must have understood this. First of all, gather information about the availability of the usability of utilize. Whatever we have used, this much was available. From this we used this much. We still need this much because that is our yearly consumption. Unutilized, what is the total reserve that we have? What is not used up till now? That number we should have. And probable resource of any region or country as a unit. Yes. Now we understood this much is available in Bihar, this much is available in Jharkhand. Where are the other resources where coal is available? Put all of that and put it in one unit, because after all it's complete India that we are talking about. So put all the resources that we have in one place and then tell what the total availability of coal is in the whole country as a unit. Students, we stop over here for the day. Thank you.